I've got Coach next to me, and next to him, I've got News and Record. Uh, I can't bring up this agenda screen, so I'm going to run through it quickly. Asheebo's going to touch on the non-basketball sports that have gone on this past week. Then we're going to talk and bring in Coach Barry for our high school basketball roundup portion. We're going to touch on where Northwood's playing their championship game tonight. Also, Christmas break basketball tournaments. Coach Barry happens to be out in Asheville for, I hope he's Cherokee, I guess. Not Asheville, Cherokee. And then there's also the Northwood girls basketball tournament, and we'll also talk if there's anything else. And then we'll get into everybody's favorite part, which is the basketball power rankings, because I think Coach Barry, myself, and Asheebo have seen enough of actual play of the Chatham County high school basketball teams to let folks know, hey, here's the power rankings, and it's not just, hey, we feel that this is the power rankings. We've seen a lot of those people play. So let us begin. Asheebo, what's going on in the non-basketball sports world here in Chatham County?
Yeah, so starting in wrestling, we saw a tri-meet last week with Bartley Yancey and Northmore. And Seaforth was in, and Seaforth beat Bartley Yancey 66-18 and Northmore 83-0. So they're continuing with their dominant season. And then they lost their first dual match, though, on Saturday, where they met some really good competition in Carmichael Arena. And that I think they lost to Laney 20-46. And then they also beat Cardinal Gibbons in that same meet 41-32 and carried 55-21. So still a good day for Seaforth Wrestling on Saturday. And then on the girls side for Seaforth, Cara Rosa Marco, she won first place on the girls side of the WRAL / hsot wrestling tournament on Saturday. And that one she won over Faith Bain from New Bern by decision in the championship match. So congrats to Cara Rosa Marco. And I think that's her sixth first place finish this year. I think she's won first place in every tournament she's been in. So she's having a very, very good season. And Northwood won two matches in the tri-meet hosted by Jordan Matthews Wednesday. They beat Providence Grove 54-24, and they beat Jordan Matthews 53-24. And in that same tri-meet, Jordan Matthews beat Providence Grove 36-27. So I think that's their second dual win of the season for Coach Jimmy Long in his first year with the Jets. And then Chatham Central, they lost to Southeast Alamance 30-54, and Graham they also lost to Graham 18-45 in another tri-meet on Wednesday. And so that's a wrap on wrestling from last week. And then for indoor track, we had a couple of pretty high finishers in the JDL Holiday Invitational Saturday. Julia Hall, she finished 11th in the girls 1,000 meter run. And then Hall also led Northwood runners in the 1,600 meter run, finishing 13th place, which is the highest Northwood finisher in that one. And Northwood's Laney Bobo finished fourth in the girls pole vault event. Jordan Matthews, they competed in the Asheboro Blue Comet Classic on Friday, and they had a few first place finishers in some events with a few different other schools. And I think those included were Marvin Herrera. He won the boys 1,000 meter run, came in first place there. Christian Torres in the boys 1,600 meter run, and Athena Dispinet, she won the girls 500 meter dash, and Cassie DeShazo, she won the girls 55 meter hurdle. So congrats to those athletes on coming first place in that meet. And then we also had some swimming action as well. We had some first place finishers in Wednesday's meet hosted by Asheboro, and that one is I think Northwood, Chatham Central, and Seaforth were competing in that one. Northwood boys won the 200 meter medley relay. Christian Smith Pamampa from Northwood also won a 200 meter freestyle for the boys. And for the girls, Northwood also has some more winners. Abigail Emmerich won a girls 200 meter individual medley. And for the girls 50 meter freestyle, it was Seaforth's Eva Wahib coming in first place there. Don't want to get it's a lot of first place finishers from that one, so don't want to spend all the time on swimming. But it was a very good event for Chatham County in that meet with a lot of first place finishers from Chatham Central, Northwood, and Seaforth. And then Seaforth also swam again on Thursday in the multi-dual meet with Cary Academy, Carborough, Wake Christian, and St. David's. And in that one, the first place finishers were the boys 200 yards medley relay, the boys 100 100-yard butterfly, which was Benjamin LaJoy, and the boys 100 yards breaststroke, which was Evan Hepburn. So a very busy week in Chatham County outside of basketball.
To get into basketball because there's been a lot of activity. People are interested in it. Like lot of our Chatham County doing well. So Asheebo, before we get into your power rankings, let's just quickly touch on Northwood playing at the basketball. They're in the basketball championship game over in Oregon, and also let's just touch quickly on Christmas break basketball tournaments that are going on.
Yeah, so Northwood, they've been playing some of the best up there in Oregon, and it's from that state. They won the first game in dominant fashion over North Salem, 72-46, and I watched that one, and that one was, the offense centered around Drake Powell. I think he had 25 in that one, but the offense just ran so efficiently. Plenty of assists, plenty of guys got scoring opportunities. I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, I think 8 or 9 different Northwood players scored in that game. So definitely an all-around good performance from the Chargers in that one. And then in the second round, another dominant win over Woodburn, 70-38. And then last night, they clinched a spot in the Capital City Classic Championship over Tualatin, 73-64. And Gene, we were just talking about it. I didn't get to see much of it, but from what I heard is, it was a closer game in that one, probably their closest game all season. So really good for Northwood to see a game like that so early on and step outside into some greater competition for that. But they did pull it out, and we'll see St. Joseph's from California tonight at 11:30 p.m. in the Capital City Classic Championship. And then also as well, we'll have some other. Go ahead, Gene.
No, go ahead, Asheebo.
Go ahead, Asheebo.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to mention some of the other holiday tournaments this weekend because Coach Berry's at Cherokee, North Carolina right now for the Cherokee Invitational with Seaforth. They're starting with Newton, right, from Georgia today.
Yes, sir.
Coach Berry, you said 2:45 today?
2:45 Eastern Standard Time. Yep. So going back to that Northwood tournament over at Salem, Oregon, they're doing a great job. As people pointed out, they won their first couple of games in dominant fashion. Their toughest game thus far was last night against Tualatin. It was nip and tuck for the first 3 quarters, and then the fourth, eventually Northwood pulled away. This game was close for a reason. Tualatin is a Tom 6A state champion for years. This is a team that's been running everybody out the gym, and Northwood came in and played them very, very competitive, closely, and at the end pulled it out. They have several that can shoot the 3 ball, that can run the floor. They have a lot of, so for them to pull it off, super proud of them. I'm proud to say I came up and watched it on pay-per-view, capitalcityclassic.com/PPV. He wants to catch the championship tonight, Wednesday, December the 20th, at 11:30 Eastern Standard Time. Go to that URL. I think the cover is $10. You can support your local team, see what they're up to, and hopefully they can get something. Now, I'll tell you this, the team that they're about to play, St. Joseph, California, they're no scrubs. They're also state champions. Northwood has literally had to go through the gauntlet in order to do the things that they're doing right now. And if they can pull this off, that would be a significant accomplishment. And to be quite frank with you, even if they don't win, it's still a significant accomplishment because you have to go through state champions in multiple states to do what you do. I'm also here in Cherokee, North Carolina, where the Seaforth Lady Hawks is going to play the Newton Rams, based out of Covington, Georgia. This is that athletic, physical, feisty. They have some shooters. They have 1,000-point scorers. But Coach Bird and the crew prepared these girls. And if the girls, I believe, execute as planned, we should have a very good shot at being successful. But as they say, we won't know until we get on that floor and we play, and we'll see what happens. We'll know what the bottom line is by 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today. So we'll definitely keep you up to date.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, a really good look for Northwood if they pulled this out. But it's already been a good look for them because they've gone in, taking care of business in 2 games, and then they pulled it out against a defending state champion. So really, really a good test of how good this Northwood team is, because we know they're probably not going to be challenged much in the conference and outside of maybe the Myers Park game. these are some really good, good experiences for Northwood to get that playoff type atmosphere, playoff type competition. So definitely there. And then also,
yeah.
Mhm.
Things
Go
I'll
ahead,
point out as well is I believe the team actually played a basketball game to check out the Portland Trailblazers. I think they were playing Golden State Warriors, and they checked this. Paul was nice enough to come over and to give the entire team some on life on back. In fact, there's some photos floating around with him communicating with Drake Powell via the cell phone. I don't know if they was exchanging handles, telephone number, what have you, but I'm gonna give a special shout out to Chris Paul for taking time, give back to the youth, back over Carolina. As we already know, Chris Paul have deep ties back in Carolina. I believe he went to Wake Forest. He has a team based out in North Carolina called CP3. So for him back and really communicate with the players and give them some guidance, Coach Cameron Vernon and Brown, those guys, they were very, very appreciative. So big shout out to Chris C3 Paul.
Yeah, Winston-Salem native. Yeah, definitely the North Carolina connection was real there, especially with them being the only team from the Carolinas out there. So yeah, I saw those photos on Facebook Coach Vernon had posted, and it was really cool to see. But also too, the girls will also be playing in their own holiday tournament. They got the First Bait Classic starting today, and they got Union Pines, I think, at 7:30 tonight. That'll be the last game tonight at Northwood. So definitely interested to see how they do against some more, upper class and better competition outside of the conference. Also, they have a possibility of seeing Apex Friendship again should those teams win out in this tournament. So I think this will be a really interesting tournament, really entertaining for girls basketball here in Chatham County.
I'm looking forward to the Northwood partners going out there and really delivering and hopefully get a couple wins under our belt, and we can hopefully avenge the loss to Apex Friendship. I'll mention this as well. Last, or maybe a week or 2 weeks ago, there was a special showcase game over at Game. The Apex Friendship ladies, they essentially had the game handily, and one of their star players, Jasmine, she got dinged up, left the game. And when she left the game, things sort of unravel a little bit for the Apex Friendship team. And the other team ended up winning that game. I don't know if she's back at this point, but she's not back in this particular tournament. That could be a big detriment to the Apex Friendship lady team. But bottom line is, I would love Northwood to win, to be able to have a rematch against them, because I think they can still beat them. They're at their best. Asheebo.
Yeah, we saw that first game. I mean, Jasmine Dvar really was the anchor of that team, like from mid-range, getting into the basket. They ran the offense through her. So yeah, I think they are different. I imagine they will be a different team with her now on the floor. But we did see Northwood, in that second half of that game, when they got the big men going, when the rebounds and on the boards and got some shots to fall, they did hang tough and made a run, get within single digits. So we seen Northwood can run with Apex Friendship teams like that with studs on the team. So definitely really, really interested to see if they'll get to see each other again. But yeah, let's get into some of the boys basketball scores from last week, and then also talk about some more of the power rankings. So just a rundown of last week. So start with Seaforth. They lost twice during the week, losing to Cummings in a tight 64-67 battle on December 12th. And they also lost another close game Friday against Chatham Central. And Coach, we'll talk about that Chatham Central game later when we get into the power rankings. I know that was the best game probably of the week here in Chatham County. And Chatham Central also they started their week with a 53-42 win over Bartley Yancey. So another good week for the Bears as they continue to be undefeated. They also had another win over Triangle Math and Science, 67-24. And then Northwood, of course, before going to Oregon, they beat Jordan Matthews 79-19. And then Jordan Matthews also lost Wednesday to Cedar Ridge 36-48, but bounced back with a 47-34 win over Northmore on Friday. Chatham Charter lost to Franklin Academy on Friday 59-69. And Woods Charter won over River Mill 33-32 on December 11th. So, judging off of last week, it's not too many changes to the power rankings. But here we go with it. Of course, number 1, we got Northwood. Number 2, I still have Chatham Central in the 2 spot. Number 3, I got Seaforth. 4, Jordan Matthews. 5, Chatham Charter. And 6, Woods Charter. Coach Barry, give me your thoughts.
100% agree. I thought the main issue was that 2-3 slot between Chatham Central and Seaforth, and they ultimately played the game, and Chatham won it. So you have no choice but to put them at that second spot. I will say this: I thought that I thought that Seaforth can very easily compete against Chatham Central. That is a 50-50 game. I thought that the game was there for the taking for both teams, but in the Chatham Central sort of pulled away, mainly just because of maybe they played together in bigger games a little bit longer, than Seaforth has. But make no mistake about it, when Seaforth plays Chatham Central again, it is possible that they could upset them in the second game. But on the flip side, Seaforth has to be ready because the next game is played in that gym with Chatham Central, and it's very, very hard to beat them in that gym. They feel very, very comfortable there. So Seaforth is going to have to be on the A game. Other than that, Jordan Matthews, Chatham Charter, and in that, I 100% agree with you, and nothing else to be said there. Asheebo.
Yeah, but that Seaforth and Chatham Central game, I mean, I was watching, and my reason was for putting Chatham Central over Seaforth last week is just I really thought, like, kind of things you said. They kind of played together more as a team. They played together longer, and of course they have Reed Albright, who's kind of like a star. He's a reliable person they can go to on the offensive end to get a bucket from 3 or from the 2, wherever on the court. And he showed a little bit of that in that game too. He still was a leading scorer. Another 20-point performance from him. Even though I watched the first quarter of the boys' game of that game, and it seemed like Seaforth was doing a good job of giving forcing the ball out of his hands with ball pressure. They were moving very, very fast on the defensive end. But yeah, like you said, it's just two teams that are really close and matchup wise, skill level wise, and to go into Seaforth and to win that game there, I think that says a lot about Chatham Central. It says a lot about Coach Burke and the way he prepares his team for those types of games, and that'll really help them in the conference. I talked to Coach Burke, and he says he often says, if the team can play like it should, no one else in the conference should be able to beat them other than Northwood, of course. So we'll really see how that play out because, yeah, they still got to see Seaforth again. Of course, they got to see Jordan Matthews again, who I imagine will play better down the road because Jordan Matthews has lost a few the past couple of weeks. Played some really good teams, like the Northwood game. That was a really good team. And in that game, I feel like had Jordan Matthews made a couple more shots in the beginning, it might have been a different story, in that first quarter and first half. Just there in the first half. Maybe Northwood still pulls away in the second half, of course. But I think Chatham Central at the second spot is a safe bet for now. All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything?
I think when you look at Chatham Central and you look at Chatham Central and you look at Seaforth, I think whoever can impose their advantage over the other team, over the other, is going to be the winner. If you look at Seaforth, their advantage is in their athleticism, their skill players, particularly Noah Lewis. I believe Nate Emerson was another guy. I thought that Noah Lewis can one of the defenders on an island, he can blow by him and he can score a lot of goals, similar to Nate Emerson. If they could play that game and they can attack off the bounce and get to the they're going to have a lot of success. Side of the coin, if you allow cut, just play freely, loosely, they're in their element. They're very this. They can go to the rim. They can shoot the three. They can break a press, attack. They can do things on the back end. So whatever team can more closely to their style, which would give them the advantage over the, as I just stated, I think ultimately they're going to be the winner. I thought if Seaforth just said a second ago, they probably would have, it would have been a little bit closer and they would have had a better chance at winning. But ultimately, Chatham Central was able to do what they did and win the game. Of the Northwood Jordan Matthews, I think the bottom line in that game was Drake Powell versus Brendan Odom. I thought that Drake Powell had a significant advantage there, and that was pretty much, if you take out Brendan Odom and you minimize his productivity, then you're going to significantly, hamstring Jordan Matthews. And I thought that's where it pretty much started and ended in that particular game. And ultimately, Northwood pulled away. And all of these games, when you have one team that's, I'm not going to say significantly, but you have a team that's, on paper, really, the other team may start off in the game close. The first quarter may end, and maybe the better team is up 10-6. 10-4, 10-5, and you're saying to yourself, okay, man, maybe this game is going to be close. Maybe it's going to be interesting. But what's happening here is players are getting adjusted to each other. And if you're the better team, you have the better players. Start figuring out what you can do. You start figuring out what you can attack. And over the long haul of the game, the better team ends up pulling away. So scores 70, 75 to 25, 75 to 30. And you look at them and say, man, what happened? It was just 12-5 or 12-quarter. Well, what happened was they started getting used to it. They figured some things out, kept hitting that. They're just keeping that drum over and over and over, and they pulled away. And ultimately, that's exactly what happened in the case with Northwood and Jordan Matthews. Asheebo?
Yeah, and last thing I'm going to say really about boys basketball before we get into the girls is that just looking at all the teams that we've watched every team now up to this point, and it just seems like Northwood is the one team where it's not maybe 1, 2, or just 3, really good players. It's more than just Drake Powell, Fred Whitaker, Cam Fowler. It's also Griffin Hobbs, Bo Harvey, Chad Graves. Like, they have a continuous roster and rotation of guys that can come in and make a difference in the game. And I think that's really just the difference between Northwood and the rest of the conference. Mm-hmm. It's just there's really not much of a drop off, once guys get out.
Right. So if you're spot on. I think the most significant factor outside of the obvious, they have some really good players, is with Northwood over the other teams is they have a culture of good habits. And they've been doing this over the last 8, 9, 10 years under Coach Brown. It started way back with Deuce Powell, Aaron Hall, Jalen McAfee, and that crew. And Drake and Griffin Hobbs and all those guys, they watched those guys grow. And by the time those guys graduated, they came right in and filled in right behind them. And by the way, the culture has been implemented every single year. Once the year is over with, Coach Brown gives the guys a couple of weeks, 2, 3, 4 weeks off, but then they right back grinding. They're in the weight room. They're in the getting shots off. They're playing AAU basketball. They're watching film. They engaging with colleges and college scouts, et cetera, et cetera. So over the long haul, their culture of success, from practice to games to the game situations to putting in the extra work, this is significantly more than all of the other teams, maybe even combined. And when you factor in, you start throwing in stars like Drake Powell, like Jake Layton, like Griffin Hobbs, like Cam Fowler, like Bo Harvey, like Fred Whitaker. When you start factoring all these, you got Chad Graves in here now. When you start factoring all this together, this is what you have: complete minutes by Northwood. And until other teams do the same thing and other players on these teams commit to the same level, it's going to be very, very hard to level the playing field with Northwood this year as well as the coming years.
Yep.
Asheebo.
And then we can head into girls basketball too now. Get some rundown of the scores from last week on there. So starting with Seaforth again, they started the week with a 52-8 win over Cummings on the 12th. And then they also rolled to a 71-21 win over Chatham Central Friday. And then that one, they had 4 players scored in double digits. So big win for them and a big week for them as well. And then Chatham Central, they won his first game of the week over Bartley Yancey 40-30-35. And then they won over Triangle Math and Science 58-37 on Wednesday. And then Northwood started the week beating Jordan Matthews 58-13 on the 12th. And then they followed that with a 51-36 win over Hills Friday, and then another 56-38 win over Ashe County. They played another tournament on Saturday for that one in the Central City Classic. And then they beat Northmore Friday 30-24. Jordan Matthews beat Northmore Friday 30-24. And Chatham Charter won its 4th straight game Friday with a 49-32 win over Franklin Academy. And to wrap it all up, Woods Charter lost to River Mill 34-38 on the 11th. So girls power rankings for the week of December 11th. At number 1, I got Seaforth. Number 2, Northwood. Number 3, Chatham Charter. Number 4, Chatham Central. And number 6, Woods Charter. I think the one moving up this week is Chatham Charter into the 3rd spot over Chatham Central. Coach Barry, give me your thoughts on the girls' power rankings this week.
Unfortunately, I agree with you as well. That given that game that Chatham Central had with Seaforth, it wasn't the loss; it was the decisiveness of the loss. And when you factor in Chatham Charter's, ride, you look at their success this year. You have to give them the nod at this point. I think it's that 3rd spot is there until a Chatham Central beats them at this particular. So I completely agree with that. Jordan Matthews, I would put him there as well. And Woods, when you actually, so 100%, I agree with that. I think Seaforth is definitely going to be the team to beat. I do believe that Northwood would be the closest one going to be able to win. But even with that said, I think the Seaforth Lady Hawks, that's going to be a tough out for anybody that plays them. They're solid. 1 through 7, 1 through 8, and led by Gabby and Katie and Peyton Collins, and you got Hannah, you got Sydney, Jossie, you got Jenna. They have a bunch of girls, man, that's similar to what I was talking about with Northwood. They are building a culture build culture that started 2, 3, 4 years ago with the same core girls. So now when teams play them, they're not just playing them today. They plan a whole culture that's been established for the last 3, 4, 5 years. So no, they would be first, Northwood second. I would go with Chatham Charter, then Chatham Central, Jordan Matthews, then we would ended up with Woods Charter. 100% agree with that. It could definitely change, similar to when Chatham Central played Seaforth's men's team this past week. Okay, so this past week, and they beat them, so now they decisively moved up into that 3rd spot, right? That 3rd spot. So if, let's say, Chatham Central beats Chatham Charter, then obviously they would take their spot. But right now, this is where we at, Asheebo.
Yeah, and like we talked about Chatham Charter a little bit last week, and from what it seems, it looks like no one's really going to slow them down too much in the conference as well. So it's looking like, they have that pretty much under control as long as Hannah, Mia stay healthy on their end. But they'll also be in the tournament this week, and I have to figure out which one it is I see on their schedule. But I also want to talk about the interesting thing about that Seaforth and Chatham Central game. Even though we know Gabby didn't play in the first quarter, that really showed, a little bit kind of what Katie could do in the first quarter. I think she had 10. Her and Peyton had 10 in the first quarter. They really controlled the offense, and it wasn't too much of a fall off, even with Gabby not on the floor. And I think what really showed from Seaforth in that game too is kind of just how their size and athleticism can really be, the separation. Because we knew Chatham Central coming in wasn't the biggest team. They weren't the fastest. But when I looked at the way Seaforth came and defended them on their end, that just looked like the difference, like the ball pressure. When Gabby was on someone, or when Katie was on someone, it just seemed like they were just smothering them. You know what I'm saying? Chatham Central couldn't move the ball. They couldn't put the ball on the floor. They couldn't get their pass inside the carry lead. It was just like a total smothering. So to me, that just really was the difference. And that's, to me, the scary thing about Seaforth is then you add Gabby in the second quarter. She drops, I think, 17. I think she exploded for like 17 or 14 in the second quarter. And they just couldn't stop her. In transition, in half court, it was just she gets inside, she gets the layup, or she gets her spot out on the three and knocks it down. So, yeah, Seaforth, I mean, that's a paper in the story too. It's just some of the takeaways from them. Go ahead, Coach Barry.
Yeah, 3 quick points. Number one, Gabby was ill like the prior 2 days, and she wasn't able to practice. And, even going into Friday, she wasn't 100%. So when she came in, when she wanted to play, she didn't want to let her team down. On that second quarter, when she came in, that was sort of like a quasi flu game. So she came in, man, and she came in guns blazing. Gabby Wright is the truth. I mean, listen, man, it's going to be very difficult for anybody to really match up with her one-on-one. You're going to have to throw 2-3 people at her to sort of slow her down. But she's physical. She's athletic. I mean, she's the total package. And I know right now, firsthand, she got 15 D1 offers. That's how legit she is. Number 2, Coach Bird hangs his hat on defense. He always says defense wins championships. And the biggest emphasis for him all the time is we must play defense. We must know what our responsibilities are. We must defensive rebound, because it's how you end the defensive sequence.
Yep. And that's the thing too, that Seaforth and Northwood game is coming up. I think the second is their first meeting, right? January 2nd. So I was just in my mind thinking, yep. Or any team going to knock Seaforth on the girls' side and Northwood on the boys' side off. Maybe not on the boys' side from Northwood, but on Seaforth and Northwood, that's one of those games where I think, like you said, it's going to be like a slugfest, especially down low with the Glover twins. And you got Nia Henry on Northwood's side. So it's been a really good defender this year too, and another great asset for the Northwood offense as well. So, and I can't, even though I've seen Seaforth and we saw how they kind of dismantled Chatham Central and pretty much a lot of the other teams in the conference so far here, I can't really say, who has the edge in that one. So, Coach Barry, what do you think?
Listen, as much as I love Northwood and as much as I love Seaforth, they're both Chatham County teams. I live around the corner from both schools. At this moment, I would have to give the edge to Seaforth, just because I believe that with the overall experience, 3 years, most of those girls been together. They just now was runner-ups. They are brimming with confidence. I think ever since that Grace Christian Academy game, I think they actually got better. They plugged some holes. That being said, Northwood, if they come with their game, they can potentially, pull it off. But they're going to have to be, their best to overtake Seaforth, because I think Seaforth is going. They intend on coming in as well, being the best. And the one thing that I wanted to mention, because a connection that got screwed up, the third I mentioned, 1, Gabby, number 2, the defense, but then number 3, those guards from Peyton Collins to Hannah Adaji, and then you have Mia Moore as well. These girls, they know what their roles are, committed to the system, and I think that those 3 big-time sleepers, because everybody knows about Gabby, they know about Katie Leonard, but those other 3 girls are critical, to the success of the Seaforth Lady Hawks. And if any team plays Seaforth and don't account for those 3 girls, that could be a mistake as well. But to your point, come January the 2nd, this is going to be an excellent game. It's like boxing, right? You have your co-main event and you have your main event. They both are equal. And I'm telling you, you have to see these games. It's going to be in that Northwood gym, rabid environment. The girls are going to kick it off. Then the boys are going to go as well. Man, get your ticket early, eat your popcorn, sit back, feet back, and it's going to be very, very entertaining. But most importantly, we're going to get some clarity and be able to end this debate once and for all in terms of what team is better, the Chargers or the Lady Hawks. We'll find out January the 2nd. Asheebo.
Yeah, we sure will. And like you said, I think Seaforth, their perimeter game is very underrated, especially with Mia. I mean, she can be a knockdown shooter from three, which will really help them, I think, make the difference with the front court there against Northwood. But yeah, that's all we got for basketball. Gene, anything else you'd like to add on to?
No, I was actually going to note that we're down to the last. I don't want to be only on. We're down to the last 5 minutes, and this is the part where we get into Asheebo's Athlete of the Week. I also, before we start that, I agree with Coach Berry. That game on January 2nd is going to be a big game. It's going to be interesting to see what Coach Snipes does to counter Gabby. I think there are a couple of good players on the Northwood team, but I don't know if one player is going to be able to handle Gabby. So, as Coach said, that's going to be a very interesting game. So, let's kick into Asheebo's Athlete of the Week. The Chatham News and Record came out today. It's out there. You can pick it up in your favorite stores. And so who's your Athlete of the Week this week, Asheebo?
Yeah, Athlete of the Week is Cara Rosa Marco from Seaforth Wrestling. She's having a great season. And last week, we already talked about it. She won the WRAL hsot wrestling tournament in the 152-pound weight class. She pinned 3 opponents in under 2 minutes each on the way to the championship round, where she run over Faith Bain from New Bern by decision. And that win clinched Rosa Marco's 6th first-place finish this season. She's just been on a dominant run there in the girls wrestling division. So hats off to Kira on a great week and a great season.
Yeah, I saw her on Friday and asked if she was going to be at the Seaforth competition that they had at the Carmichael, and she said no because there weren't enough females. I think I only saw a couple at that competition they had at Carmichael, but she's an excellent wrestler, and she continues to improve continuously. So let's talk about what you got going on in the newspaper this week.
Yeah, so we have the usual sports roundup. We had a little game story from the Northwood and North Salem game for anyone that missed the first game of the Capital City Classic. And then we also have some takeaways from Seaforth in their game against Chatham Central. Some things to look out for from that team as they go into this tournament at the Cherokee Invitational down there in Cherokee, North Carolina. And we also have a remembrance story of Coach Ronald Glenn Scott, a legendary baseball coach at Chatham Central that passed away on December 8th. And we have some memories from some of his former players and some of his family members. His daughter, Rhonda Batten, in particular, provided some words on his memory and on his behalf. So, that's all we got in the paper this week. And yeah.
And the only other thing I want to add, because there is a Chatham County connection, is we had a passing this week, one of the UNC family, and he was actually part of Chatham County as well. And Sheila had asked me about this earlier. Well, the thing is, I still remember when he used to come out to the Chatham County Relay for Life Cancer raising functions at Northwood, and it's just Coach, you have any memories or? Well, shoot me, I don't even know why I'm choking up. Yes, Eric Montross.
Yeah. Eric Montross is a legend. He's a legend. I mean, he's a legend. This guy, this is a guy in county. This is a guy that has come to Woods Charter and run camps. I don't know the way I know some other people, but every time I saw him, he always engaged me. He was always very friendly. He always respected, some of the things that we went youth through basketball camps. And from afar, I just admired him. And, one of his legacies that he's going to leave back is on Father's Day as a father-son basketball camp where the kids come in with the dad and basically he runs where fathers can participate. This is a game for fathers to bond with the kid even more so around the game of basketball. And the fact that I believe he was 52, it is absolutely a travesty. And it just goes to show, man, that you never know when it's your time. And as I tell my guys all the time at my camps, even basketball teams, do 3 things every day. Number 1, tell mom and dad you love them. Number 2, give them a hug. And in my funny way, I'll say number 3, sloppy, juicy kiss, saliva drips down on the side. And this is an example, understand how this feels, because I had a dad, pass back in 2018, and I'm still not quite over it. So, my deep, deep, deep condolences to the Montross family. Anything that we all can do here, the Chatham Journal newspaper will be, more than happy, to do it. I'll personally do anything I can. If I can, love you guys. And, my heart definitely is with you.
Yeah, definitely keeping the Montross family in our thoughts and prayers. And also, too, I also wanted to reach out to some people like Coach Barry, some people in Gene that knew of his impact in Chatham County. I also want to highlight that also for the paper in his memory as well. So if anybody, if you have any memories of Eric Montross and the things he did down here in Chatham County, please feel free to reach out to me through my email, my phone number, 404-980-6933. And email Asheebo at northstatejournal.com. And yeah,
I was going to say his son also played rec league baseball, and Eric would come and see his son play, and he was just another dad watching his kid play. So he was a regular member of the community. I think that goes back to what Coach Barry said. He was tall, man, and to a certain extent, you see the kids looking up at him. Actually, everybody looked up at him. You didn't have too much of a choice. So I think we're going to wrap it up there. We are not going to be on next week. We're kind of taking off Christmas break. However, do you gentlemen have any plans? I may be at tomorrow night's Northwood girls game, and Asheebo, Coach Barry. Coach Barry, you're in Cherokee for that. Is that right? For this event?
Yep, through Friday. If the Lady Hawks win today, whether they win or lose, they still play again tomorrow. And they'll have games through day. And so typically Friday afternoon, Friday night, we'll end up coming back to Chatham County. And next week, the Seaforth Hawks, the men's team, I know they're in the tournament as well up in so I will probably frequent them just to kind of offer some support to our Chatham County team.
And Asheebo?
Yeah, so tonight I'll be tuning into the Northwood and St. Joseph game for the championship of the Capital City Classic. So please follow my updates on Twitter. If you don't want to pay the $10 to get in, I'll pay in for you and update you. And then also I'll be at Northwood tonight for the first game of the First Bank Classic. And also to keep winning, I'll be out there as long as they go. So that's where I'll be at this week.
Yeah, and I think just a reminder, I know the last 2 nights that they've been playing in Oregon, that games have started late because of so I know there's some consolation contests going on today. But again, if they don't start at 11:30 and you paid your $10, you may have a late night tonight. So anyway, gentlemen, thank you very much. Folks, have a good Christmas, a happy New Year. We'll see you after the New Year, and I'm sure one of the things we'll be talking about is how Northwood played up against Seaforth that second. All right, we're going to end that stream